Welcome everybody to Linux Academy. My name is Terry, and over this course we will be covering all things Linux, introduction to installation and setup. So in this video we're going to talk about Office applications, specifically how we would use Linux to get work done on a daily basis. Not necessarily technical work like system administration or anything like that, but we're going to talk about how we would check our email, how we would browse the web, and more importantly, how we would do the Office type application interactions that people would typically use Windows for and Office, whether it be 2003, 2010, etc. So let's go ahead and update our distribution here. And there are a large number, surprisingly more than you would think, Office applications that are available for Linux. And depending on the distribution that you run, and more importantly the desktop that you run, how well integrated they are is a dependency. So we'll start with the obvious one, OpenOffice and the recent offshoot called LibreOffice. Now that's an integrated Office application that contains the typical Office applications. The Word equivalent would be Writer. The PowerPoint equivalent is Impress. The Excel equivalent is Calc. The drawing application is called Draw. There's a LibreOffice base that's similar to Access, and then there's Evolution, which is the email client. It's an Outlook-like Linux clone. Well, let's not say a Linux clone. It offers its own features and stability, but it functions very, very similarly with calendars and contacts and emails, much like Microsoft Outlook does. So let's take a look at what Office Writer looks like. And if you have used any Office application, Word in particular, this will look very familiar to you. It uses the same type of menuing interface and page layout style that you've been used to. So we'll maximize this. It has a bit of a simpler interface in terms of formatting than the ribbon that you're typically used to in Office 2010 and forward, but it functions just exactly the same. This is functionally equivalent to Microsoft Office. It saves in what's called an open document format, which is XML based, and open document format can be easily read by Microsoft Word, and it can be edited by Microsoft Word. In fact, OpenOffice does a better job saving documents in a format that Microsoft Office can read than Microsoft Office does in saving documents in a format that OpenOffice can read, or that LibreOffice can read. You'll find that LibreOffice and OpenOffice both work very well with Microsoft formatted documents. In fact, if we take a look at, let's go ahead and close this one out. We'll close without saving. And let's bring up Impress. And let's open a document that I know that I've created. So let's look in the Downloads folder. And this is the slideshow that you will have seen if you've viewed the distribution discussion from earlier in our series of videos. This was actually created, as you can see by the name of the file, pptx. It was actually created in PowerPoint, but it opens and runs perfectly fine inside Linux and Impress and OpenOffice, including the transitions. So that's the most commonly used Office application suite. In fact, I will also show you what Evolution looks like, since I happen to have Evolution up and running on my system. So let's go ahead and close out our presentation here. And I'll go ahead and minimize the virtual machine that we have, and I'll bring over Evolution. Evolution has the typical interface that you're familiar with Outlook. It has a large listing of contacts, which I don't have any in here, but I do have a calendar that's set up for my Google Mail for birthdays and anniversaries, as well as my business. And you can also add task lists here on the side, which you do when you use Outlook. Now that's the most common one, but there are desktop-specific Office applications. For example, with GNOME, there's a word processor called AbiWord. This has been around for a long time, and AbiWord runs it's a simpler, it looks very similar to the OpenOffice implementation, but it is a bit simpler. It doesn't have near the formatting options as a LibreOffice, which is intended to be more of a full-service word processor than AbiWord. But AbiWord has been around a long time and is commonly used in GNOME environments. There's a simple document viewer called Events, which does a good job of bringing up Office applications, or rather Office application formatted documents from Word and Excel, up to a lesser extent PowerPoint. And then there's Numeric, which is obviously the Excel equivalent. Again, it's a bit more generic. It doesn't have nearly the formatting capability of Excel, especially when it comes to chart derivation and display. There's also a GNOME Office, which isn't installed at this point. And there's a K-Office. And we'll touch on those when we talk about GNOME and when we talk about KDE4. But these are all applications that are available in every version of Linux. They're maintained in the main repositories. That's all for running Office applications and getting work done in Linux. My name is Terry for Linux Academy, brought to you by Pinehead TV.